on digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's 10 o'clock on Monday morning. This is Victoria, Derbyshire, live from Bournemouth, where the Liberal Democrat conference is taking place. We're here with an audience of 200 5 Live listeners, including students, nurses, hairdressers, shopkeepers and serving soldiers.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm a local resident here in Bournemouth, and at the moment I'm unemployed. But one thing that I am looking for is the opportunity to be able to find a few little bits of part-time employment, maybe a little bit of consultancy. That might mean that I can end up earning a few £1,000s a year. Now, if you're telling me, though, that because I've been able to work hard all of my life and now I've afforded a house, putting everything into it, and you're telling me that I'm going to have to start finding those extra few thousand, well, realistically, why should I bother going and looking for a part-time job where I can earn a few thousand if it's going to go straight into the tax coffers? I thought Liberal Democrats were like the Conservatives, looking to try and incentivise people to go back to work rather than to tell them instead, don't bother, we're going to take every penny you've got.
So just to be clear, you've lost your job, Mike, and you own a house that's worth more than £1 million.
That's right, we put absolutely everything into the house.
Yes, over here, sorry, Jane, over here. Man with his hand up. He's called Mike. Hello, Mike.
Thanks very much. I'm Mike. I just wanted to ask, in this time where everyone's worried about honesty and integrity, I wonder whether any of the people on the panel would like to comment on the pamphlet that the Association of Liberal Democrat Councillors came out with a few years ago, called Effective Opposition, which has in it, be wicked, act shamelessly, stir endlessly. And that was the Liberal Democrat councillors' advice to their candidates.
Right,
I know it was eventually withdrawn, but what have you got to say about that?
Ed Fordham, you were smiling at that. Is it funny?
I am smiling because the gentleman asked earlier as well about property tax, and I should say, hello Mike, former councillor for Hampstead, Conservative. One of the answers to your unemployment problem. One of the answers to your...
Mike, you didn't tell us you were a former Conservative councillor.
No, unfortunately I beat Ed in the election.
One of the questions he asked earlier was about honesty, and he could have said he was a Conservative councillor. Yeah. He then asked about property tax. And my advice to him is to sell his second home on Fitzjohn's Avenue in Hampstead at NW3, but he knows he's going to hang on to it.
Is this true, Mike? You may be unemployed, but you have 2 homes now. Is this right?
His wife's also a Conservative councillor here in Bournemouth. She's in the Cabinet. So let's get back to the question he asked, which is about trusting politicians. The Liberal Democrats...
It's about the document, Ed.
Yeah, no, I understand the document. The document was flawed, the document was withdrawn, the document was recycled. I think it was nearly 12 years ago, and I realise you're still reprinting it as an attack material. The issue is now, and the question came up earlier about can you trust Nick Clegg. I've been in politics on and off for about 20 years. I can genuinely tell anyone who's listening to this programme, Nick Clegg is a phenomenon, the like of which I've never met. I've never met anyone who I trust, like, and can rely on so totally. I know him personally. I knew him long before he was an MP.
Give us an example of how you've had to rely on him for something and he's helped you.
He worked in aid agencies doing trade negotiations with China. And I've got some constituents who I'm trying to represent, problems with China. I was able to ring him up, ask some advice, because I didn't know the geography of China. It's vast. He took their home number and rang them up and spoke to them in Chinese. He then rang me back and explained the problem, and I was able to get some help from them through the Citizen Advice Bureau.